Hey guys, this is a 1984 Honda Magna 600, and I'm going to make a quick video here just to show you some of the things you might have to do to one. Since it's an 84, you know, it's a 30-year-old bike and you may run across some problems. I'll show you a couple things I did. I just picked this bike up for $600, which I thought was a good price. The bike didn't run when I got it, but it did have compression. I got home and found out it was kind of odd. It didn't have a drop of fuel in it. So first thing I did was I pulled the carbs. They're right there. And if you look, you'll see up under here that this one sits at an angle. So the fuel in the float bowls doesn't sit, inside the float bowl. It actually kind of sits down here at the bottom. And when I put gas in it, it just leaked. It leaked crazy down here on the motor and would drip off onto the floor. So I knew I had a problem right away with that. The other problem was over here underneath the side cover and behind this stator, there's a secondary fuel tank. So this is your primary fuel tank and your secondary fuel tank. And when you dump gas in here, it automatically goes into here with a big connection hose. So what happened here was there was also a leak underneath on the bottom of the secondary tank. It was just a pinhole, but it was dripping down onto the drive shaft back here and ate away all the paint. So that's why there wasn't a drop of gas in it. It had a leak there and up at the carburetors. So all the gas had leaked out of the secondary tank. So to get that tank off, you actually have to pull the back tire, the back fender. All these electronics have to come off. The battery box has to come out. And you have to take the back wheel off, and it actually comes out back here. It's a pain, but it's really the best way. There's a guy online that claims that he was able to do it without pulling the back tire, but it was easier if you just do it the right way. So there's that. What I did to patch that tank was I took, let's see if I can get it here. What I do with it? I took some fuel tank repair putty. You can get this at any auto parts store. I mixed it together and put it on the tank. And then I didn't want to have this problem again. So what we did was I took and bought a fiberglass repair kit. And I put a piece of fiberglass mat down and fiberglassed it over top of the fuel tank patch. And then on top of that, to ensure that this doesn't happen again or anytime in the near future, rubberized undercoat. I sprayed it with a rubberized undercoat to keep it from rusting and keep it from happening again. So I think I've won the Jerry Rigging of the Year award with that. The tank is actually no longer available. It's discontinued, so you can't even buy it anymore. The other problem I had was when I put this thing all back together, my fuel pump went out. And that's another problem because these motorcycle fuel pumps, and I got the original one over here. This is the original fuel pump, and this is what it looks like. And actually there's gas dripping on me. This is what it looks like. There's two little contacts in here. It's like a points type setup. I tried to clean them, but it didn't work. So I pulled this one out. I actually ordered one on eBay, but it was taking too long to get here and I wanted to ride, so I got impatient and bought a Mr. Gasket fuel pump from the auto parts store. It's a 2.5, I think, to 3 pound pump, which is what you need. I took the old pump out. It sat right in here and mounted on the battery box and put it basically in its place. But as you can see with the old fuel pump, the two lines coming off the bottom, so your fuel lines actually ended up down here by the shutoff valve. Now back in here, I don't know if you can see it, there it is. There's a fuel filter, and this pump actually comes with a fuel filter. You can see the number there, it's the number 42S. That pump actually comes with a fuel filter, but I didn't use it. I used my old fuel filter, which I'm probably going to change. But because of the fuel lines and their locations, I had to rerun fuel lines, and this one, the fuel line going out to your carburetors is over here, and this fuel line runs across and over and back over to it, and it worked out okay. No kinks or anything. It's working fine. The problem I had was getting a fuel line from the fuel tank itself to the inlet side of the fuel pump. What happened here was I had too many kinks, and they would kink up and cut off fuel flow. So to fix that problem, what we did was I got a short piece of hose there. You can see it right there. It goes actually into a piece of metal fuel line. I don't know if you can see it. There it is, back in there. And I bought a pipe bender, and I bent it, and this is the metal fuel line. It comes down and returns, and it actually goes inside this other fuel hose pretty far. It actually comes to about right here. And then I used another fuel line to go to it. So that worked out pretty good. It actually wraps around the battery nicely. The only problem is if you change the battery, this fuel line has to come out of here, and you have to pull this hose clamp and the hose clamp up here to get the battery out. But I just put a brand new battery in it, so I shouldn't have to worry about it for a while. But it just runs over here into the fuel filter, and then you're good to go. And the side cover should go back on and cover all this up nicely. The other thing I had to do was, there's two wires off this old fuel pump. As you can see, that green one there is a ground, and then that, I think it's a blue and black wire, is the power. So it's just a 2-wire pump. This new pump is also a 2-wire pump with a ground and a power wire. Well, I ended up finding out that my plug was bad, and this is what one end of it looks like. Okay, it's just a little 2-prong, power and ground. And this was the other side that I ended up having to cut off. And I ended up wiring it direct because the plug, when it would vibrate, it would lose contact and my pump would quit working. So I ended up just wiring it direct and taking a simple solder gun and soldering it together, and it worked out beautiful. And now I'm able to put this thing back together and take it for a ride. Beautiful bike, really. It was worth salvaging. Like I said, for $600 and a little bit of work, new battery, flushed out the tank. The fix for the carburetor, I think I forgot to mention, the fix for this carburetor, because it was leaking, was actually the float bowl seal. Because of the angle the carburetor sits, that float bowl seal needed changed. And I was able to go to a Honda store and order just that float bowl seal. But a lot of places wanted to sell me the entire kit, which I didn't need. The carburetors were actually pretty clean. And I ended up taking these things off twice, which was a job. The tank has to come off. And actually the tank doesn't come off. It tilts back almost like a car hood. But the air box has to come off. And one thing I did realize when I was taking it apart was you don't want to disconnect the carburetors from the box itself, because then they have to be synchronized, and that can get expensive. That's something a shop has to do. That's not your average guy engineering there, but that's it. Bike will fire right up. So that's it, guys. Hopefully this helps you out if you're looking to change your fuel pump. Those eBay fuel pumps, I've been told, are junk. One guy had a video, said his only lasted like 15 minutes. So hopefully this helps you out. It worked for me, or at least it has worked for now. But that's the setup. And I don't know, I'd like to see your comments on this video, so leave a comment. Thanks for watching.